Hi everybody, I'm back. This is Pamela and I survived my RNY gastric bypass 2 weeks ago. So I wanted to come on and give everybody an update. I'm doing better, much better, almost 100%, but not quite. I still have a little bit of soreness. I did and definitely ended up having the open procedure, and my scar is, or my incision, I shouldn't say scar, it's not a scar yet. My incision is about 10 to 11 inches long, so it was a pretty big one. And the reason for that is because I had a massive hernia along with the gastric bypass procedure. I had the hernia repaired, so that's why it was so long. But I had a few, the first week was definitely rough. You know, when you're cut that in those stomach muscles, it's a little difficult getting up and down and moving around. So I'm feeling much better now. I'm still in my robe, as you can see though. I've pretty much just been hanging around the house and, you know, getting better. So there were a couple of things I wanted to, and I am going to say my weight now. At my last visit with the surgeon before the surgery, my weight was 362. Now, you know why I didn't want to say what it was before, but that was November 1st. It was 362. I started the 2-week liquid protein diet on November 7th. And by the day of surgery, I was down to 346. And that's my home scale, because believe it or not, they didn't even weigh me at the hospital. They didn't weigh me the day of surgery. They didn't weigh me at all while I was there. And when I came home, I have one of those old-fashioned doctor scales, you know, the real big clunky ones, and it goes up to 350. So when I came home maybe like 2 days later, I got on the scale, and it wouldn't register because I was back up over 350. So I had definitely gained a lot of weight from all the fluids that they were giving me by IV, like everyone does. I mean, that's been mentioned before, but for anybody that's about to have surgery, don't be surprised when you come home if you weigh a lot more than when you got there. So today, though, which is 2 weeks since my surgery, I am down to 335. So that makes a total loss of 27 pounds since I started the liquid protein. And I'm not going to go into every week when I weigh in, differentiate between what I lost doing the liquid protein diet and then what I lost from surgery. I'm just going to start from my initial number, which was 362. Today is 335, so I've lost 27 pounds, which is pretty good considering that that's only since November 7th, so I'll take it. I just want to go into a little bit of detail about the surgery, about my hospital experience. I got there. I was supposed to report at 8:30 on a Monday morning, November 21st. My surgery was scheduled for 10:30. 10:30 came and went, and I was still waiting for surgery. I think I finally went in around noon. I have to say everyone there was super nice. Everyone introduced themselves to me when I went into the operating room, asked me lots of questions. I got on the table, and the next thing you know, I was waking up. So that was not a bad experience. And when I woke up, I was in recovery, and shortly after, they took me to the critical care unit, where I stayed that night. And I had my own personal nurse, and that was, as tough as it was pain-wise, it was very nice having my own nurse to help me, and he was very helpful. It was a he. His name was Mike. So I was really happy there. Or I don't even want to say I was really happy. I mean, I was in a lot of pain, but I was as happy as could be. The next day, I had to be taken down for the leak test, which was the most painful experience of my entire hospital stay. You know, most people, I hear them say that they have to stand up and have the CAT scan or the X-ray to check for leaks. They didn't. This facility, you did not stand up. You had to lay down. And trying to get up on that table and lay down with that incision was awful. Luckily, my husband was still there, and I had him come in, and I was like, please, you have to help me lay down because I just can't do it. And he did help me, and you know, he was a big help the entire time I was, you know, incapacitated, let's say. The second night, I was taken to the regular surgical ward, and it was awful. I'm really not a demanding person, and I am not a demanding patient in any way, shape, or form. I have, my sister is a nurse, my daughter's a nurse. I know how tough it is for nurses, and I know how busy they are. But I'm telling you, I was put in a room and pretty much ignored the entire night. I would ring my call bell. Half hour later, somebody would say, can I help you? I'd say, yes, I need to go to the bathroom, I need some help. A half hour later, someone would show up. I mean, literally an hour I would wait. Luckily, the next morning, and I was supposed to stay until Thursday, but luckily the next morning, which was Wednesday morning when the doctor came by to make his rounds, he took out the drain. He said things were going pretty well and I could go home that day. So thankfully I got to go home, where I got a lot of attention and help from my husband and my daughter. And I have a couple of notes because I wanted to talk about a couple of things. Yeah, so I was home where I did need help. Because of the incision, I was unable to kind of bend, so I did need help in the bathroom. It was not my favorite part. You know, I was never more happy than about the fourth day home when I could take care of everything in the bathroom by myself, and believe me, I was very, very happy about that. My husband's sitting over here behind the camera, and he knows I came out like, yay, I could do it myself. So that was a good day. I wasn't able to take a shower until, because of the incision, the doctor's office wanted me to wait at least a week. So I think it was about a week later, I was finally able to take a shower. And until then, my husband was helping me wash my hair in the sink, and just, you know, doing what we had to do. But I really thank God for him. This is a little bit TMI probably, well, for sure, but I just wanted to mention this because the Friday, I had surgery on Monday. The Friday before, Mother Nature called and I ended up getting my period. I called the surgeons, or I didn't call the surgeon. When I called the hospital, to get the time to report for surgery on Monday, I told them and asked if it would be a problem. They said, no problem, just, you know, come on in, and that happens all the time. So I did. But I have to say it made the whole experience worse, of course. And, but just so you know, if that happens to you, you know, they take care of it, and it's not a problem. It is no reason to reschedule your surgery or anything like that. So I'm still on full liquids until next week. I have a follow-up with the surgeon on December 13th, and at that time he will let me know if I can move on to the next stage. So right now I'm pretty much living on protein shakes, pureed, it's full liquid, so I can have pureed soups. When I say soups, I mean like cream of potato or something like that doesn't have too many ingredients in it. I can't just take a can of any kind of soup and stick it in the blender and eat it. Yeah, and I did have a bottle of Isopure. Not too thrilled with that, but I did drink it. And a lot of Crystal Light, just making sure I get my fluids in. In the very first few days, it was tough. I didn't feel like drinking anything, but I did make myself do it. Sip, sip. Okay, my camera cut off for a second there for some reason. So as I was saying, I just sip, 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 and I keep doing that. Just sip, 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 and make sure I get plenty of fluids throughout the day. There are just two other things I want to mention in case this happens to anyone, because I never heard anybody talk about a black tongue. And one day, shortly after, maybe like 4 days after surgery, I brushed my teeth and I looked and my tongue was black, purplish black. And it scared the crap out of me, I have to say. But apparently it is from the iron supplement that I was chewing. And to top it off, I have the Celebrate Iron Plus C, the 30 milligram plus C, which is a grape flavor. And it seems to be more pronounced when I eat that. So now I try to, I don't know if anybody else has experienced that. It might just be me. I know it happens to some people and not others. But I try to take the iron and then as soon as I can brush my teeth and rinse my mouth out just to try to cut down on that effect. But if that happens to you, it's not anything bad. It's just something that happens to some people when they take the iron. It does discolor your tongue. The other thing is I had these weird sort of blistery ridges behind my knees, and they were like fluid-filled blisters that ran all along the back of my knees, and I couldn't figure out what that was from. And then it dawned on me that they put these compression stockings on prior to surgery. The old-fashioned kind of, old-fashioned compression stockings that took forever for the nurse to get on me. And he was very careful trying to get all the wrinkles out. But apparently there were little wrinkles behind my knee. And that, since they were on for 2 days, that caused the skin to get in where the wrinkle was. And the whole thing just caused blisters, which are still, they're pretty much healing now and going away. But that was pretty freaky at first. I didn't know what that was from either. I did have the ones that you put on your legs and pump up and down, those kind of compression stockings, but they put that over the older type that, go all the way up your leg. So that's just a couple of my experiences. I hope that it helps anybody who's going through the same procedure. And yes, it was rough the first few days, the first week, I would say it was rough for me. I know a lot of people bounce back much quicker. Certainly if you had laparoscopic procedure, you would bounce back a lot quicker. But I'm feeling great now. I had my husband and my daughter both tell me that my stomach looks smaller. My daughter just keeps saying, I can't believe you look so much smaller now. And so that's pretty motivating, and that's pretty good. So I will check in again next week. And I hope everyone has a great week and is almost ready for the holidays. And thank you for all your support, all your well wishes, and checking in on me. I really, really appreciate it. Good night, everybody.